Hey neighbor, here we are, August, South Georgia, Zone 9. Time to get ready for fall gardening. I know it's hot, folks. Hot every day. But you know what? This too shall pass. Next thing you know, we're going to be waking up and it's going to be cooler and it's going to be fall. And we're going to feel that first rush of cool fall air in the morning time and we're going to go, aha, it's here. So we need to be prepared now for fall. It's just a reality. Okay, so we're gonna go over some of that today, what you need to be doing now to get prepared, because there's a lot going on in the fall of the year in the gardening world. And plus at the end, I'm gonna give you some unique special varieties that you may wanna try this fall, just to try something different. Some things that are just absolutely wonderful. Don't plant a lot of them, but some unique stuff that'll make your garden glow. All right, so what we got going on is we got sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are growing great. I've got them laid by them with my phosphorus and potassium. They don't take a lot of nitrogen, but I've got all the fertilizer to them. They're growing great. So if you ain't got your sweet potatoes healed and fertilized real well so that they can continue to grow and make, you need to do that. Mine's in perfect shape right there. We've got a cowpeas planted. You want to plant your cowpeas in the fall. I plant mine in August, got them up going. I got top pick, pink eye, planted some more zippers just the other day. Today, we're going to be planting some Thom onions. It's a little early, but in my situation here, I got to get some Thom onions in the dirt. Now, these are my perennial onions that we grow, and we call them Thom, T-H-O-M, the nesting onions, but it's a perennial onion. They're fun to grow. They're a great source of food, because once you get them, they multiply, and you can keep them and you can share and you'll have all you need. But they can grow year round. Sometimes we do that, but this year we run out of air, so we had to dig them. Oh, it was in June. We dug these right here. We put them in the barn, and now it's time to plant them back out because we're going to be selling these, and I need to get them out in the ground and get them pumped up and get them going and multiplying. So we're going to plant someday. Now, when we lay them here in the barn, we just kind of lay them single file out there and look at the bunch of them right there. That's the way we dug them. There is a pile of them on the earth. So we'll separate these things out and we'll plant them back. Each particular one will make a big old bulb like that, hence the word multiplying onions. These things make good what we call spring onions or small onions. We love the top with them. Oh, as far as the bulbs go, that's about as big as they get, maybe a little bit bigger than that. Great for cooking. A little bit spicy. It's not a sweet onion. Got good flavor to them, but we love our Thom onions. So I'm going to plant a plot back now because we're going to be selling these this fall, and we want to get them growing and get them multiplying again. And next month we'll plant us another plot. Now for the homeowner, if yours is still holding up pretty good in the barn there, I actually believe September is the best month to put these out. But if you got them and you didn't split them in the springtime, you probably need to go ahead and do it. The more you split these, the better off they do. If you let them get this big right here and don't split and do anything to them, they go backwards. So they love to be split. So once you get them a big nest of them like this right here, you want to split them, even if you have to do it right now. They do stress a little bit in this August heat. I'm gonna put mine on drip irrigation. I would highly recommend, if you're gonna do it in August, September, to put them on drip. Now, if you're gonna wait later in the year and you're gonna do it during October and grow them during the wintertime, you could probably get by with that drip. But gotta keep them nice and wet and keep them, this heat just works on them. But that water, if we keep the water to them and don't let them stress, they will do okay now. But come September, they'll really flourish. All right, folks, our drip tape has 12-inch emitters. That means it's 12 inches in between emitters. I find this perfect spacing for our multiplying onions. Now, I'm not saying you couldn't go 6 inches, but when these things get pretty good size, you need that extra room there for root growth, and it seems just to work out perfectly for me. Now, we did put down complete organic or an organic fertilizer under this right here before we laid our drip tape. So we got those microbes, we got our fertilizer down there to give these things a kickstart. I'm a huge believer in putting down an organic fertilizer pre-plant. We take these onions, we want to plant them on each emitter. I got the irrigation turned on, so I'm seeing where my water's coming up at, stick it down in there and just cover it up. Works pretty quick. And I'll just peel these things apart. Soil's nice and soft, stick it in there like that and walk down through there and get these babies planted. And I'm gonna tell you something. You'll be surprised in just 3 or 4 days, these things will sprout out and start growing like crazy. The key is, in this hot weather, and it can turn off dry now, is having the water on so you can, turn the water on when you need it. You can't let them stress when it's hot. Now, they'll take stress in the cooler weather in the wintertime, in the fall and early spring. They'll take a lot of stress. They just cannot take stress on this heat that we're having right now. All right, it's time to start thinking about plot management, managing some of these areas that we're gonna have room to plant some of our fall crops. We got some of our plots filled up with peas, potatoes, onions, but we set this plot here aside, and this is gonna be where we plant our brassicas at. Now this plot was bare here a while back, but we thought about buckwheat. We knew buckwheat was a short-term cover crop. 4 to 6 weeks, this stuff will go to bloom here. The fastest growing summer crop they are. And you probably can't hear it. I don't even know if you can see it, but this thing is loaded up with native pollinators right now. You can just hear them buzzing everywhere. So there's no better crop out there as far as a short-term summer cover crop than buckwheat for your pollinators. We love to plant this in areas that we're having some problems with. We don't want our plots to sit empty. This particular plot, I got a bad problem with pigweed in. So I needed something fast growing to help shade out some of that pigweed. And that's what we did here. Now, it's just about time to extinguish this. When this stuff gets in full bloom, it's time to mow it and work it in. And that should be pretty good timing to have it ready for our brassicas to be planted next month. So you also need to be thinking about, where am I gonna plant my garlic? Where am I gonna plant my elephant garlic? Where am I gonna plant my strawberries? And even be thinking about onions, because next thing you know, it'll be November and we'll be needing a spot to plant our onions. But before that, we're gonna need a spot to plant our garlic and our strawberries. Another thing too, I got to move into flowers just a minute. If you got an area out there that you really don't have anything for and you want some color, man, this here cocoa marigold is a wonderful fall flower right here. It grows during the summer as well here. I've been extremely impressed with this marigold this year. Look how huge that plant is. Now this is not your average marigold. And plus it has a very strong stem to it and a big old beautiful bloom right there. So I don't grow as many flowers as Mama Hoss does in her garden, but I love this marigold because it's easy and it makes such a splash. We have it in a couple of different colors. We have an orange and a gold. A wonderful, wonderful crop. All right. I got okra on the back side here. We still got okra growing, folks. We can grow that all the way to frost, and we love our okra. So, you got those things that's really doing good now, but be thinking ahead. Okay, I got to have a plot open up for my garlic, my elephant garlic, and my strawberries next month. Next month, all in October, we'll probably be planting our garlic next month. And then October, we'll be planting our strawberries. Be here before you know it. Another cover crop that you may want to think about this time of the year is Sunn Hemp. I've got about 5 acres down here. Now this 5 acres has been farmed up until now by a commercial row crop farmer. They've had peanuts and cotton here rotated for years and years and years. And I'm trying to get some of those chemicals that's been in the soil out. I'm trying to cleanse the soil a little bit and build my soil up. I probably got 5 acres here. Sunn Hemp is one of the best ones for this particular application. Another one that would work really good is black oil sunflower. Black oil sunflower, and that's your cheap sunflower, works really good to draw contaminants out of your soil. But Sunn Hemp here, it does a couple more things here that I wanted to use. It's got a pretty bloom on there, of course, but this is a legume right here, so it doesn't take much fertilizer at all. Plus, this right here was going to put nitrogen back in the soil. So it's going to build the soil back into my ground here. There again, down here, I got somewhat of a pigweed problem. You see there? So I needed something that was fast growing. So Sunn Hemp here will outgrow the pigweed, so it helps shade some of that out. But it's going to build my soil back up here. It's going to last all the way. Oh heck, I could let this stay out here probably till frost. But it's got a couple of drawbacks, and you need to understand this before you plant it. Number one is this thing has got a stalk on it. When this thing dries out, it's hard to mow. You need you a good tractor and a rotary mower because it can be hard to get rid of. If you got a good tractor or rotary mower, you can mow it down, but it's nearly impossible to try to mow with something like a lawnmower. So getting rid of this stuff here is a little bit more problematic than some of the other summer cover crops. Number two is the deer love it. That can be good or bad. If you're a deer hunter, I can guarantee you there is nothing better to plant in your food crop than this right here. I've run one out at the bottom of this field yesterday. The deer will absolutely devour it. They love it. So in my situation here, that's no big deal right now. I would not want to plant this next to my garden because it's just going to draw the deer in there. So keep that in mind. If you do have an edible garden growing right next to it, maybe a no-no, because I guarantee the deer come from miles for it. If you got cows close by, they love it too. I actually had a field of this a few years ago up at the other place there, and the cows, my neighbor's cows, tore down a good fence to get to this right here. So they'll do whatever they can to get to it. Livestock, deer and cows love it. Since we're up here close to the greenhouse, let's get a check on our plants. Show y'all these lettuces here. The lettuces are up front. You talking about growing in the last few days, these things have took off. All right, y'all see the grow coon there that we like to use? This lettuce plant here is 10 days old, and look at the roots coming out on there. Now the top's not growing all that much, but we're trying to grow root right now. 10 days old. We will shoot some fertilizer of this in the next few days, and we'll get that top growing just like we want it. We want to grow a good, strong plant, and root growth is essential for that. So we love growing those roots in. When I see those roots coming out there, that's just exciting because we know we're going to have a good plant. Now, if you've never heard me talk about grow coon is a biological or a biodegradable netting in there that lines these trays that we have been planting in. Found this technology out of the Netherlands. This is going to be a game changer right here. It allows this plant to grow in quicker. The only thing I can figure is there's airspace in between that tray and that netting right there, and we found that our plants grow in a lot better, but the biggest thing is we can pull them so much quicker, and we don't have what we call miss pulls. Miss pull is when you pull that plant and the root comes out and the root ball don't. It happens every now and then when you don't have a liner like this right here, especially on tender plants such as lettuce and watermelons. So this helps with what we call miss pulls. We can probably pull these plants a week quicker using this grow coon liner. And here's our brassicas we got growing on here. This is twister cauliflower. Now this was seeded the same day as our lettuce was. That plug there is 10 days old. Look at the root system there. It's amazing, ain't it? Now, not that much top growth. We're starting to see some true leaves there, just starting to come out. Really good root growth there. We're going to encourage that root growth right now, and then in a few days, we'll encourage that top to pop. Now, what we're doing is we're seeding every Monday. So this first section right here, we seeded 10 days ago, and this last Monday, we did this planting here. So every Monday, we do a planting. That way we have our plugs coming off weekly. If we did have a problem, had a crop failure, we'd have a backup plan. So that's our strategy, and we plan on having these fall plugs probably all the way to November. All right, I told you I had some unique stuff you could try this fall. Just change it up a little bit, do something different. All right, on cauliflower, we have a graffiti. It's been a few years since I've grown this, but I've grown the purple, white, and yellow together. It makes a heck of a splash here. Purple cauliflower graffiti, easy to grow, and it's not a self-wrapper, so you're probably gonna have to wrap it when his head gets big to protect it a little bit here. Beautiful purple color. And another one is Flame Star. Now, Flame Star is that deep yellow color. But you can grow this purple and yellow together, or you can put the purple and yellow and white together. It makes a heck of a splash. If you do markets where you sell some of your produce at farm markets, this right here is a game changer right here. When somebody walks by that and sees those three colors popping there, they got to try it. Or you just want to try something different and liven it up a little bit. These colors pop in the garden as far as cauliflower goes. Now, another cauliflower that's not necessarily a popping color, but it is a different type, is Veronica. Veronica is one of those weird cauliflowers. Now, this type of cauliflower is really popular over in the UK over there. It has a different flavor. It has a slightly nutty flavor. Of course, the texture is different, but you'll see this in a lot of high-end restaurants, Veronica hybrid cauliflower. Don't plant a lot of them, but plant a few and just try it. I think you'll be surprised at the taste difference in it. Now let's move into some broccolis. You know, we're all used to those big green headed broccolis, and I love them too. That's the majority of what I plant. I love Green Magic. I love Emerald Crown. I love Godzilla. There's several varieties I love there. But here's a purple one called Purple Magic. Changes the game up a little bit. Purple broccoli here. So this is a good one here to grow. This is a very good variety because it's got a lot of vigor to it. This is a hybrid, and you got good germination, good seed vigor with this right here. Grows off extremely well. I like to plant these purple broccoli every now and then. And switch it up to asperbrock. You ever heard of broccolini? Well, this is what this is. We call it asperbrock, but it makes those little bitty shoots of broccoli that you can stir fry. It doesn't make that big broccoli head, but it just makes whirls of these little shoots, and you harvest those. They're real tender. You stir fry them, or you can eat them raw in a salad. Has different flavor to them, and of course the texture is different because it's not bound up in that head here because it's loose. All right, and then we got the same thing in a purple. So we got purple sprouting broccoli, same thing. You kind of pinch those little florets off that come out. They're not the big heads here, but this is a purple here. Pinch them off, stir fry, or put them in a salad. It's just wonderful. Good, love that purple color there. So that's just a few things you may want to try just a little bit different. I wouldn't plant a lot of them, but plant you a few of them. You might find these things interesting. So here we are, summertime, getting ready for fall. It's not too early to think about it. Start planning out what you're going to do, what you're going to put where, because we got a lot of things growing this fall.